Hello. Hi, everybody. If anyone watches this video, I should start learning how to actually trim videos properly. This YouTube editor is still like stuck in 2009. Trying to grab my notebook without making anything fall. I should probably test the stream, but I think I checked everything. Everything should. Yeah, I don't think I need anything else besides my drink. Right there. This is the problem with having like a chair that has like 3 levers. Right? You get the tilt. So you got 2 different tilts. You got the tilt of the backrest and the tilt of the platform you sit on. Fantastic chair. The guy was gonna throw it out. I guess it looked too normal. That guy didn't even consider it to be like an expensive chair. I looked at it and I was like, there's something about this chair. So today's video, or at least my 30 minutes of discussion, right? I should probably do an intro to this. Hello, my name's Ramirez. You can call me Rami. If you get to know me, you'll figure out the other nickname. I maintain a Telegram group for a group of there's a group of people that I do a podcast with, the Rabbit Hole Network. If you go to rabbithole.show, that'll take you to the YouTube page. In every description, it should be included, which is the link tree. And in the link tree, you'll find all of our links. If you're savvy enough, you can find me. You want to debate me? I guess, I don't know. Fight me, bro. Right, the art of emotional warfare is today's subject, and there's a helicopter over me. Right, that's actually a good example of emotional warfare, because I like to make a great example of Israel. Because if you live in that country, you're at a constant state of beratement of helicopters, rockets, mortars, gunshots. You might have family who's dying either through military service or civilian attacks. You're under the constant influence of the media. You're under the constant influence of, all of these various political factions. I don't even know how the political thing over there is, but right, all of these factors can be used in some form of rhetoric for the art of emotional warfare, because it induces a state inside of an individual, and it induces a state within an individual that allows them to be susceptible to a certain amount of influence, and that influence comes in different forms, shapes, blah 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 blah. It's kind of why in the early 2000s, right, like they crafted the narrative of like division. First, it was amongst the people of this land, right, because that division only works if it's in this land. First, they divided the whites from the Latinos. Then, when that division was well set, even though, either way, the next one, that next phase that came in was going to be the SJW phase, where then they were going to demonize that sort of speech because, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. They were just shifting the pendulum, because this is one of the Hermetic principles would suggest that all of this is and isn't, right? Because it's hot, it just means there's an absence of coldness. And if it's cold, there's an absence of heat, right? Like, these are 2 different states, and it's just the pendulum swing. So with the Bush era, they swung one way, but now we're swinging the other way. And it all relates to knowing how to use the narrative. So in the case that I'm suggesting is, right, with Israel, they created a narrative that were negative optics towards the Middle East, which perpetuated a narrative, an objective, a motive, right? It was an unspoken motive that people were working towards, but nobody ever actually said it, which is the WMDs weren't real. Now we're in a state of we're in a weird state of a lot of people know, but there's also a new group of people that are a lot that don't know, and you get lost in the woo woo. So, the art of emotional warfare, understanding what people are capable of, and by that I mean by understanding what people are capable of, I'm suggesting that everyone, right? Like there is this whole thing. I knew I was an unpopular kid when I was growing up. So during elementary, middle school, I just knew, right? If a kid walked up to me, it's because I had something he wanted. That's what it worked out to every single time. I was a pretty boring kid. So anytime a kid approached me, I knew there was something afoot. There was something that was, because it had happened often enough that it'd be like, hey, I know what's going to happen here. So understanding what people are capable of is understanding that, I'm not saying everybody, but I am saying that there are people that are versed. They know how to use words, how to let's go into persuasion, charming, manipulation, whatever you want to call it. I like to call it wordsmithing. There is an older form of like wordsmithing, which is called thistling. And if you know, you know. It's like let's just say like you're rapping, but like, I don't know. I can't remember what I remembered. I can't remember what I've learned about thistling, but I know it's similar to, some people would say, like spoken word or rapping or whatever. But there is a form of knowing that you can deliver a series of words, or you can deliver a rhetoric, or you can deliver some dialectic, or you could deliver some, right? All I'm saying is there's an art to it. There's an art to, right? Comedy is a great example, because if the body language doesn't match the voice, you're gonna have a really, like, I don't know, there's like a disconnect. The experience won't be completely there. That's why, like, a lot of the comedy masters like to suggest that, not suggest, they could just see that some people know how to work a crowd. They know that they could say certain things, woo the crowd a certain way, and just, right? They're like woo-woo masters, right? They could read a room. There's like level to it. So for wordsmithing, what would you call that ability? The ability to communicate and maneuver with complete awareness and control of the social situation. Because there's this whole thing of, once you know you have this kind of ability to do something, it comes with a sense of awareness, and it also comes with a sense of, like, you could practice this ability and repeat it over and over again. Right? Like, I can say that I have that ability to some degree because I moved so much as a kid. I went to different schools, and because I kept going from one school to another school to another school, right, I had to quickly learn how to make friends quickly, because I don't know. It's weird, but am I making sense? I don't know if I'm making sense. Right, being able to maneuver with complete awareness. So I could say that socially I'm aware enough to know how to introduce myself to somebody, and because I've had enough experience with certain cultures, I can also introduce myself to a Muslim and know what to say at the beginning and then at the end, right? Again, it's like assalamu alaikum, ang sayo, which is I think how Koreans like to say hello to one another. Right, there's like a level of, right, each culture and has a different way of phonetically communicating with one another. I'm getting a little too stuck in this woo-woo, because I'll get into it, right? I.e., it's a level of experience. It's something that you're kind of presenting and selling, which is why I like always bringing up the book of How to Win Friends and Influence People. And here we go with the helicopter again. I don't know if anybody can hear that through the right? How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book is entirely, the entire concept of that book is, hey, if you present yourself well, if you keep practicing your approach, your introduction, right, your sales pitch. The book is just a very confined science of like, hey, if you want to make a great impression, do it in 30 seconds, and if you can't do that, walk the fuck away. I'm not saying like live or die by that book, but the book addresses these concepts that there is a way for you to communicate yourself, there's a way for you to present yourself and sell that. So how this ties into the art of emotional warfare, it is the fact that they know how to do all of these things and know how to present subject and know how to angle narratives or angle speech in such a way to induce a certain emotional state. That's the point. They know what to say. They know. What I'm saying is they have the data. They have all of the analytical data that knows keywords, an arrangement of words, and they can also identify your culture, right? Facebook is now global. So if you think that Cambridge Analytica, to some degree, not even just Cambridge Analytica, any university, Facebook has open-ended backdoor services for universities to do various amounts of research. So all I'm suggesting is, I'm not saying there's somebody there learning all of this and learning how to wordsmith his way out of every situation. But this is a skill. It's something identifiable. So, and the fact that it's identifiable, I'm always trying to get back to the fact that to some degree, there are think tanks, there are lobbyist groups, there are marketing firms that use these techniques against consumers, right? I was going to say citizens, but more in fact, it's just consumerism. Because at the end of the day, it's a product. You got to sell it, baby. Like that sort of thing. I think I got that from, it's like a skit from Owen Benjamin's cartoon series. Gotta sell it, baby. Come on, Pot. Going back into... So, with the human experience, right, you have to create conditions or using conditions that are occurring to stimulate or induce a certain emotional response from the consumer, the citizen, You have to find, right, it's like the Hallmark effect. You have to find these key things that open up the individual's heart, right? It's like when you see a really touching commercial, like, oh my God, it opens up your defenses and it makes you susceptible to influence. I'm not saying every commercial is like out to be on some bad woo-woo, but back to back to back, well, the era of television is dead, but during that time, we were products of that, where if anybody got affected the most by marketing firms, it was cable television. Like, somebody brought up, I don't know who it was. I remember somebody saying a point that, think about it. Cable television charged you for a service to get access to networks that were getting paid already for commercial slots. So you were paying them for them to get paid even more. Dude, that blew my mind. I was like, holy smokes. Hi, Billy Mays here. Either way. Sounds cool, huh? Sadly, the only people who figured this out are the outliers, right? There are a variety of outliers that know how to operate with an awareness of this wordsmithing ability to induce a certain emotional stimulus inside of all of the people they interact with, right? Because, you know, that person knows, I ain't gonna see you ever again. Who the fuck cares? I'm just gonna lie to you. I'm gonna give you a fake name, this or that. I'm not saying everybody's a CIA operative, but I'm saying now more than ever with hookup culture, that's kind of a thing now, where people like to treat their identity as like some flimsy, whimsical thing. And it gets worse when you look at video game communities. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying that now more than ever, there are people that have online handles. They have a different name they identify with, right? My name's Jose Ramirez. Most people call me Ramirez that know me in person, or they call me Rami, which is just the 4 letters. or they call me Ogie, which is a nickname that I have from high school. And then I have another nickname that I had no, that was college. Then I have another nickname from high school, right? It's like my name never fit me, so I was always given a nickname. So now with Xbox handles, PlayStation 4 handles, PlayStation 5 handles, etc., we get to this whole... We're experiencing a new age of human experience, and now like the stimulus is so complex that we're at where we're at now, which is completely understanding that the news is only trying to repeat this process over and over again, putting people in a state of emotional fear. Right, it's kind of why they really needed that tactic of like Kim Jong-un throwing a nuclear missile, but I don't know, that's up for contention. Some people believe that it actually happened. So the outliers that get to know or operate with this awareness of emotional warfare are people who either are highly attractive, or people who are highly social, very two different groups, or the highly antisocial, right? And it's either you operate in the full woo-woo, or you operate not in the woo-woo, but always in constant awareness of the woo-woo. Sorry that I hit the microphone. And by and large, women. But that's only because of, at least in my opinion, just the way simp culture kind of developed. These are the aspects that I'm suggesting that are within communities, within localities, metropolitan cities. Like to various degrees, you can find these things. You can see these outliers who know how to operate with full intention of manipulating people, charming them, persuading them. There's nothing wrong with knowing these things. Again, it's just a tool. It's a double-edged sword. As much as you can use it for good, you could also use it for evil. But it's to me, it's crazy. Like that's just I was just thinking about that in terms of social. But when I wanted to think about that in terms of government, a lot of that kind of requires the press. It requires a speaking head. It requires an operative. It requires a person, right? Like let's use me for example. I'm here out to persuade the woo-woo. I have to look the part. I have to make sure that I have a nice camera. I have to make sure that I have a nice studio. I have to make sure I got the lights, the statistics. I'm saying the right things. I'm like using the correct tags. I'm right. You're actively trying to create the ambiance, the atmosphere, the aesthetic that I guess people now subconsciously associate with professional YouTubers. That's why everybody tries to now get the studio. They put the pads on the wall, they do the LEDs. Like, right, that standard has evolved since then. But it all comes down to selling the experience. But government knows that. Government knows they can't just put out a singular message and people believe it, i.e. the Ministry of Truth. But that's why various intelligence agencies, COINTELPRO, FBI, CIA, whatever, DARPA program, whatever alphabet soup agency, and it might not even be any of these people, because in reality, all of this is now outsourced. Like, there are companies that have like contracts with Twitter, with Facebook, with all these other analytic firms or analytic branches within these social media groups that will then sell this data to PIs, private investigators, or these firms that just handle this data, aggregate it, create analytics based on it, right? This is not even government, right? And the fact that it's not even government is just a way of circumventing FOIAs, which is our Freedom of Information Acts, right? That's why they love capitalism, because it gives them the ability to obfuscate all of this shit, because government programs have become privatized, and then because it's privatized, this, you know what I mean? Like, oops, like I had this file of analytics about how to influence people on this certain subject, and I left it in a boardroom meeting, and I went back and it wasn't there, right? Like, hopefully any of my homies didn't pick it up. Uh, you get into whole levels of weird nepotism because the collection of data is like super important. Um, it's kind of why I think about if you put the internet on a crypto network, how would that work? Like, what did the government do? Right? Did they only give us blockchain technology internet because they have like super quantum computers that can actually just run in tandem with the computer to like still be able to decrypt your shit? I don't know. That's levels of, you know what I mean, suspense of disbelief for sure. I don't know, I was just thinking about that. The art of emotional warfare. Of course, I can expand with psyops. I can expand on with the current shooting in Buffalo. And by the way, if you just compared what the dude looked like from Twitch, right? If you compared him what he looked like from the Twitch stream, what that fool looked like in the Snapchat video, and what he looked like in court, I'm like, no, make it stop. like this is so low effort. I don't even know anymore. Like, what's going on? But you know, if you want to see that picture, check out the Telegram group. I'm not gonna link it in here because rabbithole.show will take you to the Rabbit Hole Network YouTube. Check that shit out. I have to literally practice this. What else should I say? Art of emotional warfare. It's crazy. So like, yeah, do want to mention this. Like, I always have to state this point because even if nobody watches this, I always want to state this point. I don't care about Israel. The only opinion that I will verbally say to somebody is I feel completely sorry for the people that live there because they're Stockholm syndrome patients. Like, you live in a place where you're at constant fear. Like, you do realize that affects you as a person, right? Like, I don't even stay out of that shit. I remember I got like, I don't know. I remember because I had said some things about Israel in college. I remember like the kid who lived down the hall was he had parents who were in Israel. Like, that dude did not like me after I had said some shit. Evangelicals, like all you religious people, like y'all the worst. Like all these revelation woo-woo people, like y'all, it's like you take it too extra. You take it too extra, bro. Like, I don't know. I always thought about that. I grew up with that lens, so that's why I'm always like, stop being so extra about it. Stop being in an emotional state of warfare, right? Because I said something to induce a certain state within you, now you've gone into like some fucking warmongering capacity. And it's like everybody does that with whatever subject matter that is very touchy with them. That's why I kept it very ground level, where I pointed it out to there are people in society that can operate with full understanding of how the woo-woo with emotional states in people's heads work, right? Like, let's say you go to a foreign country and you know a little bit of their language. Like, doing that will always, like, just doing that already creates a scenario or a situation where you can impress the locals to some degree, which will gain you some favor, right? Like, that's a very, 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 very small aspect of woo to like technique and using it to your advantage. But you know what I mean? It's all warfare, homie. Like, wordsmithing. Like, it's why women like that cocky dude. It's because there is no, you're in that flow state. You're in that mode where like you're not second guessing yourself. You're not stuck in doubt. Like, they can not just women, but everybody can see that and be like, whoa, okay, right? Like there is a level of when someone carries themselves with confidence. Like you look at that dude and you're like, oh, like it distinguishes them amongst the crowd because, right here specifically in America, not everybody does that. A lot of people are stuck in their heads. So it is something that definitely sticks out. How that result comes to be, different aspects of woo-woo, because that gets into the other level of human experience, which I call child development to young adult development. And the young adult development window has widened to such a degree that I don't even know how that came to be. I haven't put much thought into that. But yeah, that was The Art of Emotional Warfare. If might revisit it, because I didn't write too much about it, because that was actually some that got me a little scared, because I was like, damn, like, you know, it's very interesting to see how much of these analytic firms, these DARPA programs, whatever you want to fucking call them, it's interesting how much data they currently have at their fingertips. And you know what I mean? All I'd say is I don't think they found the genius yet to fully map it all out, but they do have the data for it. Especially, right? Because they were whatever. That was a great video, at least in my opinion. You leave it off there. Don't forget, watch the Rabbit Hole Network podcast on Fridays and Saturdays. And why did I say it in that